Hi, welcome to my complete HENG Permansor TERRAE guide. DHPT, or Dante, or however you like to call him, is our newest free 5-star coming in the second phase of version 3.6. This video will go through everything you need to know on how to play and build him, covering his best Lycorns, Relic sets, Planar Ornaments, teams, and many more. Before we start, I'm giving away 2 supply passes / welcomes to my subscribers at 7k subs, so make sure to subscribe. First things first, how does his kit work? DHPT is a physical unit following the path of preservation. His talent gives a summon to the bond mate when it takes action, cleanse, and grant everyone a stackable shield. His skill selects one ally as the bond mate and gives everyone the same shield. His ultimate does damage in AoE and gives everyone the same shield again. In addition, his summons next 2 attacks are empowered. And for his technique, he basically uses his skill on the active character on battle start for free. For DHPT's bonus major traces, the first increases the attack of the skilled target depending on his own. The second advances his own action on the battle start while regenerating energy and advancing the summon's action when the bombmate attacks. And the third additionally grants a shield to the lowest shielded ally and slightly empowers his summon's enhanced attack. These are his bonus stat boost, featuring attack, defense, and speed. Overall, DHPT has a pretty straightforward kit alongside a very unique mechanic. He is a very similar unit to Adventuring in the sense that both are shooters that can have the shield up without investing skill points or ultimates. In this case, DHPT has a very unique mechanic for that, which is granting a teammate a summon. While it's basically a very complex way to say a follow-up attack, it was once a very special thing that I will not go into as it was beta and it does make me quite sad. However, there is still one unique interaction left which I will touch into later. Regardless though, DHPT is more of an offensive shooter compared to Adventuring, scaling off attack and giving an attack buff while becoming stronger as the bombmate becomes stronger, whereas Adventuring scales off defense and grants a debuff while feeding off getting attacked more. For his trace leveling priority, you want to level ultimate first, then skill, then talent, then basic attack. Okay, with his kit out of the way, here's how to build him, starting with DHPT's best Lycorns. As per usual, his signature will be his best in slot. This provides attack and HP restoration to all allies when ultimating, increased to the lowest HP ally. In addition, also provide an increased damage buff to all allies, increased if they have a summon. As you can tell, this is the ideal Lycorn for DHPT, given the rare attack for preservation units, HP restoration when the shield does break, and a buff that benefits summon characters, including his bond mate, as the summon does count towards the bond mates. But you might have caught on what I said about the rare attack. Preservation as a pop has always been either HP based or defense based. DHPT is the first attack based, and it really shows as outside of his signature, no other Lycorns directly gives attack. So other options you're left with is S5 Journey, since it directly buffs shields and shielded allies, and any high base attack Lycorns of any path. Yes, we already that down bad to the point where we are using off-path Lycorns. But that is the reality of being the first attack-based preservation unit. So ignoring other limited signatures, as I assume you want to use them for their own units, Welt Lycorn, Himiko Lycorn, Four of an Aeon, and Sleep Like the Dead all have great high base attack while being quote-unquote free. However, I do want to touch on 2 team-specific Lycorns that you can use as alternatives. For Acheron teams, of course, S5 Trend is a great choice as always for preservation units, and for Kafka DOT teams, Japar Lycorn is also a decent choice as that EHR combined with some substats can help you reach 75%, which then Kafka will grant attack for stronger shield / attack. Moving on to DHPT's best main stats and substats. For stat breakpoints, you want to first get him to a comfortable speed, so 134 at the minimum, but going for 160 and over is ideal. He does not have any complications with speed, so being as fast as possible is fine. Then reaching a good amount of attack, anywhere from 3000 and over is ideal. Having a high attack increases shield, damage, and buff to bond mate, so getting a high amount is suggested. Then simply getting a good amount of defensive stats like HP, defense, and effect res is recommended. Do remember, if you are running Kafka with DHPT, getting to 75% effect hit rate is higher priority than defensive stats. And although he is attack scaling, therefore crit works on him, it's not worth sacrificing his attack buff and shield power for a bit of extra punch in his damage. Although if you're able to get a good attack, good speed, then proceed to get a good crit ratio, it is still an option if you wish. So main stats will be attack body, speed boots, attack orb, and ERR rope. Body is attack as it scales off attack, and as I mentioned, crit is not worth it generally. Boots is speed as he has no problem going ASAP. Orb is attack as physical damage percentage is not more worth than a bigger shield / debuff. And rope is ERR as you want to ult as frequently as possible for more empowered summon turns. So with the stats out of the way, here are DHPT's best relic sets and planar ornaments. His best in stock relic set will be the brand new 4-piece self-enshrouded recluse. It provides shield effect increase and crit damage increase to shielded allies. Obviously, since the only other set with shield increase is defense focused, this will be his best relic set. For alternatives, since a high speed and a high attack is not always the easiest thing to achieve, 2-piece of speed and attack percentage sets will be a great alternative. In fact, I would argue that if you can reach an insane stat spread, so 160 speed plus with 3.5k plus attack, 2-piece might end up being better to use, because despite the worse shield strength and the lack of the crit damage buff, it is simply more efficient to use those Trailblaze power on upgrading other units than DHPT. For planar ornaments, his best in stock will be Lashaka or any of the energy sets. Like I said before, getting his ultimate up as frequent as possible is ideal so that he can empower his summon more. So Lashaka also providing attack, in addition to his own attack buff, makes it have pretty good synergy. But Vomvac and Ponokoni are still fine options too, with Vomvac being great for a SP generator at hyper speed, and Ponokoni working well with physical DPSs like Finon. Now for DHPT's best Eidolons, Evan provides skill point and an all-type res pen to the bomb mate after using ultimate. This is a very strong Eidolon, as not only does it further his SP positive capabilities, all-type res pen as always is a very strong buff that is very rare on sustains. E2 increases enhanced summons turns, damage, and shield. More damage, more shield, and a possible 100% uptime on enhanced summon makes this also a very strong Eidolon. E3 and 5 are just trace levels. E4 reduces damage taken by the bomb mate, and E6 increases damage taken by all enemies, makes bomb mate ignore defense, and increases ultimate damage. Overall, DHPT has some really strong Eidolons. It almost makes me wonder why these aren't part of his base kit, but given that he is given for free, I honestly get it. Not that it's good, but anyways, E1 and E2 are really strong Eidolons. As I explained before, both improve his power as sustain, buffer, and a sub DPS. Albeit the sub DPS part may require some crit stat investment. Regardless though, as for the classic question of E1 versus S1, this time it goes to E1, but only in a vacuum. Because DHPT is a free unit, you can get E0 S1 at worst 160 pulls, or E1 S0 at 180 pulls. Well yes, the all-type res pen is way more important than anything the Lightcone provides. The Lightcone banner is a 75-25 versus character banner at 50-50. When you start weighing the pros and cons outside of comparing them in a vacuum, and the fact that S1 is pretty comfy Lightcone for defense as well, E1 is a better option, but S1 is a great choice as well. Last but not least, DHPT's best teammates and teams. To start this section off, I want to mention Sunday first. As you guys know, Sunday has the ability to advance both a unit and their summon. Conveniently though, DHPT's summon is counted towards the bomb mate summon, so once a summonless unit now has a summon for Sunday to pull up. Not to mention the extra buff Sunday provides when there is a summon as well. So someone that runs Sunday, like for example Hypercarry Anaxa, will before simply use only one half of Sunday's skill, but now can fully use it with DHPT, making those teams even stronger. Which, speaking of, another unit I want to mention is Anaxa. DHPT's summon is able to fully benefit of Anaxa's crazy skill spam, as each attack will advance the summon's action, with upwards of the 6 times in a row, which is skill skill, Sunday skill skill, Cerida skill skill. And for Anaxa, the attack buff is really appreciated since it does not innately have that many, and the summon allows for a bigger buff from Sunday. And one last unit I want to quickly mention is Finon. Well, it is obvious that DHPT will not be good as running sustainless on Final teams. If you want a comfy Final team, especially for the new game mode, DHPT is great, especially since the summon follow Final into the ultimate state. So with that out of the way, here are DHPT's best teams. The best is of course gonna be, drumroll please, any attack scaling DPS. Yep, you heard me right. The reality is that DHPT is as a generalist as he can get when it comes to being a sustain. He does not have anywhere where he's the standout number 1 option bar none, with maybe an exception with Anaxa, as hypercarry Anaxa teams with Sunday and Ceridra has some golem interactions and synergy. Even then, other sustains are still gonna be great when used in this team. But for a more concrete answer, some notable teams where he does do really well are ones like Saber teams. Sunday, Robin, and DHPT are great supporting casts to help Saber. The Herta teams, the SP efficiency, and a decent frequent of AoE attacks makes DHPT a decent option. Acheron teams, a Trend preservation unit as per usual is great, but do remember, you cannot trigger Trend and Jiaochu's burn stack for Acheron in the same turn. DOT teams, Huohuo is still better, but if you're running into SP issues or sustaining issues, DHPT is a great option. Which speaking of, for all teams that can also run Huohuo instead of DHPT, make sure you weigh the pros and cons of losing the energy generation from Huohuo versus the offensive capabilities of DHPT. Depending on enemies, this result may vary, so I cannot give you a full answer on this. And facial/FUA teams, DHPT's summon is a FUA, and it does attack decently frequently, so it is more of an offensive option compared to Aventuring. Oh yeah, and Final teams as well. But as I mentioned before, Sustainless is still better, and honestly, Huohuo might be a bit easier to play as the ultimate is also a stack for Final, but if you just want a comfy team for Final, DHPT is a great option. So yeah, that does it for the DHPT guide. As a free unit that is universal, honestly, I can't ask for anything more. He protects, he attacks, but most importantly, he's got my back. Because as a person that does not want to spend too much on the game, but still wants other character, being a free unit is really saving my ass. Bit of a throwback on that meme. Maybe because I'm getting old. Am I old? Am I Unk now?